sir. Sir, am I visible?
Yeah,
Yes,
you're visible. Just hide the blurb.
I've also started recording. Yeah.
Great.
Okay, I'm starting now.
Yeah, Rishabh.
So, today I'm going to give a presentation on Sudarshan Chemical. Now, Sudarshan Chemical is the world's third largest pigment producer. 10 years ago, it was among the top 20 pigment producer, and now it is at the top three. This company was earlier in the business of agrochemical, master wedge, and pigment, but now the company has decided to focus mainly on the pigment segment. Sudarshan is the market leader when it comes to pigment in India. It has a 35% market share in India. And one thing special about Sudarshan is that Sudarshan has been able to snatch market share from other players. This point will be more evident in the coming slide when while I am going to show that Sudarshan was able to increase its sale greater at a rate greater than the market growth rate. So now the company basically deals in four broad segment. This is the coating segment, plastic, ink, and cosmetic. Now the main growth is going to come from coating and plastic segment. Although the cosmetic segment is growing, but the cosmetic segment is a very small portion of the company's total portfolio. So the management is also not giving much importance to the cosmetic segment. And regarding what will be the growth rate of all these four segment, I have not been able to find any reliable data. The company has also not given any information regarding at what rate would the coating or the plastic or the ink or any of for this segment are going to grow. As a general, it has been expected that the pigments segment will grow at 5 to 6% CAGR for the next 5 years. Even in the past, the growth rate in the pigment industry was very low. It was lower in the lower single digits, like 5, 6, 7%. Now, so what will be the growth drivers for?
I have a question, Rishabh. Can you go back?
Yeah.
So what does Sudarshan make? They make pigment. So basically these would be small color like you have
Yeah,
it.
like those pigment are used to create in painting. Like this pigment
Yeah.
are used for
So
coating. Yeah.
basically for Holi you have these small color powders which you can mix in some stuff and then you get a
These are
color.
basically dye.
Something like that. Okay.
Yeah, no, they don't make exactly that. They are mainly in this four segment. What you are talking about, it is dye actually. It is not actually
Right.
pigment or yeah.
So can you explain what is pigment? I mean, what sort of material is that? And do you understand how
The
it is?
difference between dye and pigment, which I read, is that dye it is insoluble in water, whereas pigment is not soluble in water. This is the basic difference
No,
between.
dyes are soluble. Dyes are soluble in water also.
Then a pigment is not insoluble. Like I tried to find about that difference between dye and pigment, and in one of the Google search, I find out this one. After and apart from that, I was not able to get anything of much significant. Like what is the real difference between
See,
them?
Yeah,
I
Wikipedia, Gaurav, just one this thing. Wikipedia says that pigments are mostly insoluble in water.
Yeah.
hmm. And dyes are soluble because I had experimented with dyes for fluid these things.
Right.
Some tests. So let me understand then. So basically, what Sudarshan does is pigments and dyes both, or only pigments, right?
Only pigments.
Only pigments. So
Yeah.
basically, for coating would be these coating of what paint,
The paint. Yeah.
paint coating, that sort of a thing. So it would have one base color, and then whatever color you're putting, that would go. And plastic also, yeah, plastic I can understand because you add something in the mix, and
The
it would.
pigment are used in the formulation of
Hmm,
coating. Yeah.
okay. And for ink I think
Ink,
uses dye.
it is
Or
used for like a digital ink, like it is used in computers and
printers. Okay, okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay, okay, okay. Got it,
yeah.
got it. Okay, yeah, I'm clear. Others, if you have any question about the product, anything you need to clarify.
So one interesting thing for me is that they are not too focused on cosmetic, whereas if I look at the four groups, I think that should be the fastest growing category, in my opinion. Because paint, there will be good penetration already. Plastic and cosmetic should be the highest growth subsectors among the
Yeah,
four.
but sir, the cosmetic segment is itself very small. They say it is growing
Okay.
very fast, but we don't expect much from this segment because this segment in itself is very small.
My
Okay.
This website in the last con call.
one
Mhm.
question: these pigments, they aren't. I mean, is it a very complex technology? I
No, sir.
feel like this is
I
more like
don't
a
think.
commodity, no?
No, there are two types of. One is specialty pigment, and other is non-specialty pigment. The non-specialty pigment are pure commodity, but in specialty pigment, there is little bit of differentiation. You need some type of technical expertise to create them. It is not that
Okay.
great, but it is also not that easy. That it is not like cold. Sometimes you need to dug it from the earth and sell it. There are some uh,
Hmm.
minutia mote you can say, not
Right, because
that.
food grade, I mean, I don't know if food grade pigments exist, but
Hmm.
food or drug or cosmetic
Yeah,
pigment.
food grade, sorry, dyes तो डायनेमिक ही बनाता है ना, food grade
Ha,
dyes.
ha. That would have, right.
I
Understood.
don't
Okay.
think they do food make. Otherwise, they would have mentioned in their annual report.
No, yeah, they don't make. Yeah.
Yeah, and also they give very less information in their annual report. Like they didn't talk about any how the industry is going to grow or how the segment are going to grow. They provide just very less information in annual report, I will say.
Do you know if they talk about the customers for coating plastic or ink? Did they give any hint?
Yeah, one customer I have known about them. They are in the business of in chemical, like they supply pigments to those customer. It was asked by one of the analysts in the con call that why don't you enter the paint segment directly? Then they said we are never going to compete with our customers. We are going to supply them pigment which they will be
Hmm.
using in their end product, that is the paint, but we are never going to compete. It is our
Understood.
motto.
Same auto ancillaries also don't compete with OEMs.
Yeah.
Similar. Just the last question would be from. So you have Asian Paints. They'll probably buy from Sudarshan. Maybe it's not Asian Paint, but maybe Berger. They'll buy from Sudarshan, and they'll have a huge inventory of small paint. I mean pigments, and whenever they need to make any color, their machine sort of kind of mixes those two together in the
Yeah, yeah.
what do you call virgin material, and then they get the color that they need.
Yes,
Something on
sir.
that line. Okay, good. Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to its growth driver. So the most important, the reason why you are analyzing is this company is because of this PET margin increase. Now this I am not going to spend much time here about this point because I have my valuation is based on this, and also I have 2 3 sites totally dedicated to this topic. So I will deal this later on. Now the company has now the second growth margin. The second trigger is company has just completed a 750 crore worth of capex, and now the company is not going to incur any additional capex. So this is another growth trigger, and the last two growth triggers are not that growth trigger, but they will give some increase in the growth, like increasing share of their specialty chemicals. Now you will see in the later slide that the specialty chemical product segment contributes already a very huge portion. So I don't think there is much room to grow. And second, for I have said there is modest growth in coating and plastic industries, in the plastic industry. So these are basically the four growth triggers. Now, if we are talking about the risks, these are the three main risks which I have identified. The first is the increase in raw material cost, and this not only include raw material cost, it also increase in freight cost and transportation cost, all those things. Then, as we know, there is a recession. Like Europe is already in recession. On America will enter recession in the next year. So the demand situation is also at present not very good. There are still a lot of ambiguity in this point. And another point on which I think is very important is the competition from China. That the company had mentioned in one of its con call that their commodity segment was affected very severely due to competition from China. And in 2014 or 15, they decided to shift more towards specialties chemicals because they realized it is going to be very tough for them to fight with the Chinese. As a result, now you will see in the later slide that companies, most of the sales comes from specialty pigment. Like here you can say that 68% of the company's total revenue come from the specialty segment, and 32% of it come from non-specialty, which you can, so it is a commodity type. Now the company is saying that they are further going to increase this portion of specialty segment. And now if you look at its sales distribution according to export, it is quite equally, but the company says that the new capex which they have done will mainly serve the export market. So we can expect that the company's export would rise a little, and domestic will follow, less remain stagnant. Now, as you can see, the company's return of capital is in downturn. This is mainly because of the capex which the company had done. The company had taken huge amount of loan, is a result of that their debt portion had increased, and now the capex is already finished, and now we can expect that the ROC will keep on will start increasing. The cash conversion cycle has more or remained same, like it had went to 105, then it improved slightly. It is remaining in the quite same range. It is not that much of improvement. We would want more better from that cash conversion cycle. Now here I come to the most important part.
Sorry,
Yes, sir.
one question. Can you go back to the headwinds, the risks?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So raw material cost. So what are its raw materials? Like what kind of raw materials does the company use?
Sir, they have named some type, like their raw materials. It is some type of molecules like this. I have their.
Are
Yes,
you
sir.
guessing? Are you guessing?
No, I have. I will show you in one
no,
of the slides.
No, it's not about showing. Do you know, if you see, Rishabh, either you know, as in even if you may not remember the name.
What I know, basically, the raw material cost is dependent on the price of crude oil.
So that
Whenever
is
the price
what
of
I'm
crude oil
looking
will
for.
rise, the raw material cost will he will suffer because of raw material cost.
Raw material cost. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. So they are crude derivatives, right? Linked
Yeah.
to crude.
Yeah.
Now, have you been able to get a sense whether these guys are able to pass through any RM price increases to their
No.
clients?
No, if they had been able to pass through, then their PET margin would not have suffered.
But even with the lag, they are not able to pass through, is it? It's a commodity.
Yeah.
Because they
are
claim
not
to
going
have.
to pass through.
Just hear me out before jumping on to answer, because they are saying that 62% of their revenues are specialty, right? In your opinion, what is the difference between specialty and commodity?
It's basically a little difficult to meet than non-specialty. Like it is not like
everybody cannot make, right?
Everybody cannot make, but it is still made by a lot of people.
Okay,
so it is not exclusive.
Correct, it's not. Otherwise, it would be sort of innovator molecule kind of thing, right? Then we get into that kind of space. But even if it's tough to make, then it should command some amount of pricing power. So that's why I asked the question that 62% they claim specialty. So is it just a claim? Is it just a nice to hear thing? Or does specialty actually mean something versus commodity when it comes to Sudarshan?
Actually, the company did not provide what is their margin regarding commodity and regarding specialty. Otherwise, we could have said. Now we have to assume that what the company is saying. Yeah.
This we need to understand a little better, Rishabh. You may need to dig into some past annual reports or past con calls to understand what is the difference between specialty and commodity. Because if they are both the same, then I mean, there's no point even looking at that. Like one of your triggers, the specialty will increase. But what will it do if it doesn't command higher margin, plus the margin is not better protected when raw material prices improve? Then it's the same essentially, right? So yeah, this will be one further homework point.
Actually, its main trigger is that increase in PET margin. That is actually the main trigger.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So this is the most important slide, or the second most important slide. Now, as you can see, for the last 11 years, the company's revenue has grown at a constant rate. That is, there was only 1 year when there was a little bit of degrowth. the company has grown at a 10% CAGR, while the pigment industry has grown at a CAGR of 4 to 5%. So the company has snatched market share from its opponents, no doubt about it. Now, the most important part is not revenue.
Rishabh,
Yes, sir.
sorry. Is this Indian industry growth or global industry growth rate? Whatever rate you said.
Sir, it is global.
It is global industry
Yeah.
growth.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Now, the most important part here is not the revenue, actually, it's the net profit. Now, as you can see, in 2012 and 13, there was some situation which situation are also present today, which led to a deep decrease in company's net profit from 2013 to 2016, or you can say 2015, and after that it started to increase. Similarly, you can see from 2019 to 2022, the company was doing comparatively well if you compare to the earlier years. Then in 2023, a sudden a thing happens due to which again the company's net profit starts to fall. Now, this is more evident if you look at the next part. Now, you can see there has not been much difference in the gross margin over those years, but there has been there has been a greater fluctuation in the net margin. Where when the company had performed worse, its net margin was 3%, and where the company performed well, its net margin went to 8%. And now, when in 2023, when the company had performed bad, the company's net margin again went to 2%. So, what happened during 2013? Now, I want you to concentrate on these three lines, which I have drawn with red: low demand, steep rise in input cost, and ongoing capital expenditure. This is a screenshot which I have taken from the 2013 annual report. Now I go to the annual report of 2022. Now, please focus on these three lines, on these 3 points: cost pressure, demand on specialty segment remain a concern, and commercialization of major capex project. Now, what is the common in these three? In both cases, at that time there was a low demand. Like we know, in 2013 there was a euro crisis, and the world has not been still recovered from the 2008 subprime mortgage crisis, which created a low demand. There was increase in input cost because of increase in oil price, and at that time the company was had done a capital expenditure, due to which it had to pay interest cost, which depressed its PAT margin. Similarly, in 2023, due to Ukraine-Russia war, there has been an increase in prices of raw material. The demand is also slowed down because of I will not say recession, but there is it looks like there will be a recession. And second, the company, as I've said, just had done a massive capex of 750 crore, led to the fall in their PAT margin. Now, the most important thing for us to know is whether the PAT margin going to increase or not. So this is the screenshot from the latest con call, in which the company has said that after experiencing the volatility in raw material prices for first 3 quarters, we are seeing softening of raw material prices now in Q4 FY23 due to drop in basic cost drivers such as crude oil, benzene, toluene. This should help in stabilizing gross margin. And the company has also said that this 3 traditional industrial sector, this 3 means to the coating, paint, coating, plastic, and ink sector. The company is talking about these 3 sectors. The company doesn't count the cosmetic; it is so small. So the things are improving. This the company is saying. So now let us find out. So here what I have done, I have compared the company's revenue and net profit for the last 12 quarters. Now this green box which you are seeing, this I will call pre-crisis quarters. Now you can see during this pre-crisis quarters, the company every year is generating a net profit of more than 30 or 25 crores, you can say. But during this time, which I will say post quarter, the company's net profit is 7 crore. It is not even in a 2-digit number. It is in 1-digit number. Similarly, with the gross margin, as you can see that before the disaster strike in the form of Russia-Ukraine war, the company had a very good net margin from 9%, 5%, something like that. But after the disaster struck, the company's net margin started to fall. Like here you can see it has come to 1%, 1%, and in December 22, it become negative. So now you can see in the last, in quarter 4, March FY23, the company is again returning to its pre-crisis level. Like the company has earned a net profit of 33 crore, which is more than the last 3 quarters. And again, the net profit margin is also increasing. So we can see that the company is turning to turn around. Now, in the forensic part, I have only there are only 2 problems which I found out. That one is that the promoter stake is at 35%, which is low, and the other is that the other expenses is lower than is over 15% of revenue. It is just over, so these are not much concern. So now I move to the most important part, that is the valuation.
I had a question. If raw material prices are fluctuating, shouldn't the gross margin take a hit? Why is it constant?
I think this I have not thought about, but
gross margin, where is it constant? Sorry, I missed it in your PPT, because in the quarterly
it has 1 minute.
Yeah,
there
sure.
It has fallen like 1%, 1%, 1%. Like earlier it was 46%, 42%, but now
Okay.
it has fallen to 39%, 41%, 40%. It has not fallen that much, but see, the company is in itself is a low margin business. So 1-2% drop will affect its net margin. And
there has been some drop, Gaurav. If you look at the gross margin chart on screener, you can see that after the war started, there is some drop. Not a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's in the range of 46 to 40. I mean, and now it is actually increasing the margin. So
no,
38,
but
sorry,
it went down in September. It went down to 38%.
38%, yes. But now it is 40%, and yeah.
So 2 things are happening in the latest quarter, Gaurav. One is gross margins are recovering slowly. More importantly, after 3 or 4 flat quarters, the revenue has increased. So operating leverage has played out. So quarter 1 to quarter 3, the revenues were in the 530 to 550 zone. In the March quarter, suddenly they've reported 691 crore revenue. So if they are able to keep their revenues above 650 crores, then their EBITDA margins will easily be in the 12-13% zone.
Got it.
Because it's gross margin normalizing a little bit, 1-2%, plus the major impact is coming from operating leverage.
Yeah, understood. Yes.
And sir, another thing which I forgot to mention, that apart from raw material, there has also been an increase in transportation cost, that is freight cost, which has also led to an fall in their PAT margin.
Right.
This is another reason. So can I move?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to the valuation part. Now the company was asked about what is their growth guidance, but the company explicitly said that we do not give any growth guidance. This is the first time I have seen a company said like that. But in another question, the company, the management said that they expect that by next 3 to 4 years, their revenue will increase to 3,000 crore or 3,300 crore. So taking this in mind, I have taken the bull case for the revenue to 12%. The base case I have 10%. Even I will say this is even optimistic, because if you look at this company's revenue growth, the company has never been able to sustain a revenue growth of more than 10% for 2 consecutive years. It has, if it is 20%, then it falls to 7%. It has never been able to, but still I have taken the base case 10%. And for the bear case, I have taken the annual GDP of India like 7%. Now, the gross margin I have taken by looking at the margin which was during their highest, during at the highest time, 45%. Then I have taken the lowest, and then I have also taken then I have also taken and the base case, the middle of the two. And EBITDA, I have done the same thing: 15%, 12%, and 18%. Now,
we'll only run through the base case, yeah, Rishabh?
Okay, sir. So then I just click on the base.
Yeah, let's look at the base case.
Much to explain more.
Otherwise, it becomes very confusing. Gaurav, hope that's okay.
Yeah. I in
And
the
sir,
valuation sheet, I want something simple.
Yeah.
I
And
get
sir-
even more confused. Yeah, please.
and sir,
Sorry.
yeah, main problem, like this is my first time studying a cyclical company, sort of. So I was not able to think what PE ratio should I give to. Like you can see the PE, it is at all-time high. So
Why do you
whatever,
say this is a cyclical company?
it is not a cyclical, but at this moment it is showing some tendency of cyclicality.
Hmm.
So this is my question. Like I want to ask, like, see, the company has never have achieved such a PE of 77. Like it is highest. You can see, like, it has never reached such a massive PE. So this growth rate, which return which you're seeing, 70%, 180%, 172%, it is because of the PE. If you reduce the PE to 28 level, 28 or 30, then the return will be negative. So
why do you think the market is giving it 77 P?
I think people get too much excited regarding all this. Like it has been such a predictable pattern. Like what happened in 2013. Now the same thing is again happening in 2023. So
Okay, let me give you a counterpoint. Okay, so if you take the EBITDA margin of the last 11 years, from March 2012 to March 2022, okay, you take all the EBITDA margins from Screener and you take a median. Okay, the median is 13%. Okay, last year the company has earned 9%, and on that earnings, whatever PAT has happened, you're seeing that on that basis the P ratio is 77. Okay, for cyclical companies, since you think that this is showing cyclical behavior, I said this once before also. If you are going to value such companies on the basis of median valuation, you need to look at normalized earning potential. So in a cyclical business, there will be periods of time when the company will make abnormal profits due to market conditions, and sometimes it will make abnormally low profits due to market conditions, oversupply, over demand, etc., etc. So one way to value these companies is to check what is the normalized earning potential, which means over a long period of time, at least 10 years. It can't be a 5-year horizon because you will see multiple cycles only over 10 years. So at least over 10, 20, preferably 20 years, but 20-year data is tough to get. So at least over 10 years, you calculate what is the median EBITDA margin. Then use the median EBITDA margin in the latest year. Okay. So whether it is over earning, when a company is over earning, when there is too much, bullishness in a cyclical upcycle, then you will see that cyclical companies will trade at abnormally low PEs, like 6, 7, because the E has become so inflated, right?
Sir, can you repeat this again?
Yeah. So in strong upcycles, Rishabh, in cyclical companies, when they are earning crazy amounts, which is not their normalized earnings. So, for example, if Russia-Ukraine war has happened and gas supply has stopped in the world, then any company manufacturing gas in other countries would be able to charge abnormal rates for 1 or 2 years.
Yes,
so their profits will also become abnormal.
Yeah.
So if you check the P ratio in one such year, you will find the P ratio is much lower than median.
Yeah.
Because the denominator E is abnormally high.
Yeah.
If Russia war did not happen, E would never have been that high.
Yeah.
So some people who don't understand how cyclical companies work will optically look at median P. They'll find, अच्छा median तो 15 है, currently 9 P पे trade कर रहा है, ये तो बहुत cheap company है. But it is exactly the opposite. It is at peak earning potential that PE is at 9. Yeah. Market will never give it 15 PE in such a peak of the cycle, because the market knows that this will not stay. As soon as conditions normalize, it will revert to its median earning potential. Did you understand this?
Yeah.
So similarly, when a company is going through a low end of the cycle where profits have disappeared, margins have
Mm.
disappeared, the
Mm.
E looks abnormally low.
Mm.
So the P ratio looks abnormally high. Okay, but it does not necessarily mean that the company is overvalued. To establish whether the company is overvalued or not, what you need to do is you need to calculate what is normalized margin over its history.
Mm.
So if you take normalized margin by calculating median over 2012 to 2022 of the
Mm.
EBITDA margins, you will see that it's 13%.
Mm.
So if you put 13% to FY23 revenues
Mm.
instead of 9% EBITDA, and then go down, subtract everything, and calculate the net
Now it
profit,
is at 12%.
now it is at 9%. For FY23 full year, it is at
No, no,
9%.
I have assumed 12% base case.
You have assumed 12%, but you're getting worried about the 77p that
Yeah,
Sridhar is showing. No,
yeah, yeah,
so that is basis the last year
yeah.
earnings in the last year. That is what I'm talking about.
Mm.
So that number is abnormally low. So you should try to adjust the earnings according to median EBITDA margin and
Mm.
see what the PE would be. I can bet that it would be in a much more close to your median PE kind of range. You know, so that is one approach to valuing. If you are hell bent on using P ratio, then
Mm.
you have to normalize the E in order to use a
Mm.
P ratio. Okay, that is one approach to valuing.
Okay.
I've also told you guys there's another approach that when E is very noisy in cyclical companies, E will go down into the dumps and go up to the skies depending on the cycle. So you can move up the PNL to use a lower noise parameter, which could be EV EBITDA, where EBITDA eliminates the interest, depreciation, tax, all these things, right? So EBITDA is a little less fluctuative. It does not fluctuate as much as PAT in cyclical companies. So EV EBITDA can be used, but even in EV EBITDA, you will need to normalize for cycle normal EBITDA margin, and only then you can apply a median EV EBITDA, just like you did for P, right? The other approach is to use a price to sales multiple. So price to sales will not be tainted. You know, sales is sales. Sales पे कोई fluctuation ज़्यादा नहीं होता. Even in cyclical companies, it
Mm.
is usually not that demand completely collapses, or sometimes demand does collapse. In that case, you need to adjust for sales also. But
Okay.
normally margins are what fluctuate, and volumes reduce a little bit here and there. Okay.
Okay.
So price to sales is another approach that you can take. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So to answer your question, how to value cyclical companies, that is the three-step approach. What I typically do is I will use a normalized EV/EBITDA valuation, and I will check it with the price to sales valuation. Both should give me close numbers. Both
अच्छा
should
अच्छा.
give me more or less numbers which are in the same ballpark. I am copy pasting my evaluations. After you finish, I will send you guys my notes from Sudarshan, where I have a small paragraph on where I've tried to value the company for FY24. There you will be able to see this approach, Rishabh. So hopefully your doubt will be cleared there.
Okay, sir, that normalized EBITDA which you talk about, it is the median of the last 10 years or the average?
Yeah, I took the median of the last
Okay,
10
sir.
years. Average is not a good metric when you're trying to see what happened in history, because one bad year or one extremely good year will skew your average,
Yeah.
right? So average is not the right statistical metric.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let's see what kind of earning projections you have and what kind of growth rate. So your revenue growth rate is how much? 10% for next year.
Yes, sir. And 12 base is 10%.
We are only discussing base.
The 10%.
Yeah. So just walk us down from revenue to PAT. Then valuation multiple, ठीक है, you can rework it tomorrow.
Okay, sir. In the revenue is 10% for the base case. Gross margin I have taken 42%. Like it is the middle of two extremes. For the
Okay.
EBITDA, it is same 12%, which is the medium of two extreme, 15% and 8%. For
See,
depreciation,
one input I want to give you guys. If you guys are already assuming a gross margin, then don't also assume an EBITDA margin, because gross margin may say if you subtract employee cost, other expenses, and some other costs, then you will arrive at EBITDA, right? So try to project those. If you're assuming a gross margin, then try to project the employee cost and the manufacturing costs, other expenses, and then come to EBITDA. It will automatically, if you are estimating gross margin correctly, you will be able to come to the EBITDA figure that you have in your mind, also by modeling the other cost components, Rishabh. So because if you assume both, then you can get into trouble. I think this was also done by Ashutosh, if I'm not wrong, right? In for Welspun, because right, Ashutosh? I think we
Yes.
discussed this. Yeah. So you need to assume one and let the other, flow through your modeling. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. For now, let's go with 12%. Okay.
Okay. Now depreciation I have calculated by using that fixed asset turnover, the same which I had done for time techno.
What is your depreciation assumption for FY24? What is the number?
So it's 12%.
No, what is the absolute crore number?
Oh, 138. 138.
138. Okay. Can I ask you to share the screener page once quickly?
So 1 minute, sir.
SUDA, no H. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So where should I go?
Go to quarterly results and check the depreciation numbers for Q3 and Q4.
So 31 crore and 31.
Yeah. So, and go down to the balance sheet and check CWIP.
So 285 and 44.
44. So negligible CWIP, right?
Yeah. Actually, their capex has been
completed. So now, given these two data points, can you take a better guess rather than 138?
I will decrease the depreciation rate.
Yeah. Okay. In my opinion, it should be 31 into 4, because for 2 quarters, if your depreciation is stagnated, it means that very little will get added or nothing will get added, and you should end the year at around 120 to 125.
Okay, sir.
So please correct that modeling. Yeah, what about interest cost?
I'm coming to that. As a finance cost, I have taken, sir, last quarter's interest cost, which was 15 crore, and I have multiplied by 4.
Okay, got it. I mean, that is a valid approach, but honestly, Rishabh, I'm a little disappointed because I know that you've gone through the Q4 con call, but you've not. This is what I mean, where modeling has to happen through what you learn from meetings, right? Do you even remember that they've sold a piece of land for 360 crores?
What? Yeah. Yes.
इतना रिएक्शन देने का जरूरत नहीं है ऋषभ, आराम से भी बोलो.
नहीं सर, मैंने इसका नोट भी बनाया था.
हाँ बनाया था, लेकिन वो आया नहीं ना मॉडल में, तो फायदा क्या हुआ फिर?
कोई बात नहीं.
ये तो रोबोट जैसे मॉडल बनाए हो ना, क्योंकि वो सब तो सोच ही नहीं रहे हो कि जो पढ़ रहे हो वो कैसे नंबर्स को अफेक्ट कर रहा है. So they plan to pay down.
More focus on finding out their group figure.
जितना कम एक्सक्यूज दोगे उतना अच्छा लगेगा, ठीक है? क्योंकि मतलब एक्सक्यूजेस सुनने में फिर वो हंसी आ जाता है, ठीक है?
अच्छा सर, ठीक है सर.
तो एक्सक्यूज बंद दो. तो हुआ है गलती, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं, बट दिस इज व्हाट आई वांट टू टेल ऑल ऑफ यू गाइस, शांतनु, प्रथम, आशुतोष, ऑल ऑफ यू इन द कॉल. In the call they said that 360 crores of land has been sold. Some analyst asked them, what do you plan to do with that cash? They said, we will gradually start paying down debt with it. They did not say that this will be immediately used for, entire 356 crore will be immediately used to reduce debt. They said, we will gradually reduce debt, but we will use this capex for debt. Yeah. this, sorry, the cash received for debt. So that has to come in somewhere, Rishabh.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So yeah. So another thing very surprising is, why did the interest cost suddenly spike from 11 to 15 crores last quarter? Because their loans have not gone up. So what happened? So now the question will be that you will adjust, but will you adjust that 356 crore reduction impact from 60, or will you adjust from 41? That is the question, right?
Hmm.
Because if last quarter interest rate is the new interest rate, like it was paying interest at 11 crores, suddenly it has
Hmm.
become,
So we have
15.
to first deduct their debt portion by that number, and we have
Yeah.
to find in what was the, it suppose they are earlier, before that they sold off, they had 100 crore debt, and they are paying suppose 40% interest, hypothetical. Now they have, it is a 40% interest rate. So now if they sold off 30, now they have 30 crore received from their sale. Now they are going to now they will have 70 crore debt left. So 40% of 70 crore is 28 crore. So then 28 crore will be the new finance cost.
Yeah. So that, my question is, that is correct. But last quarter, why did their interest cost go up? That is my question, from 11 crore to 15 crore.
So I don't have
Because
any.
their credit, yeah. So I know you don't have the answer, but I'm saying that is what we need to question and take a rational judgment on it. That did their credit rating become worse so that their interest cost went up, or did something else happen? Is it a one-time cost only? I don't remember if an analyst asked this question or not. But if they did, then you should, take that into account. So maybe what you can do is, you can do two cases. One can be that, okay, that 11 crore was an aberration. They will go back to, 15 crore was an aberration. They will go back to sort of 11 crore kind of run rate. So normalized interest would have been 11 into 4, 44, but they've paid down some debt. So I will take that impact, reduce the interest cost. Or you can say that 60 crore is going to be the new, annual run rate, but now they will pay back some of the debt from the cash. So 60 minus whatever is paid back will be my new cost of debt. So, or you can take an average of both the cases and do only one case. So
Okay.
there are various options to you, but everything should be pinned in logic, right?
Okay.
Yeah, cool. So I think once you adjust your depreciation, you've already corrected it, right? Depreciation.
Yes, sir. Depreciation was collected.
Yeah, and finance cost, at least it should be like 45 to 50 crores. So make that adjustment as well. Maybe make it 45.
Wait, sir.
Yeah. And tax rates are 25%. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So 100 crore of PAT margin,
Hmm.
100 crore of PAT, right? So
Okay.
from 45 to 100. So now if you look at it, 100 and the current market cap is 3385, right? So they will be at 34x price to earnings,
Hmm.
right? So you were concerned na, ki market isko 77 de raha hai, market
Hmm.
is being very irrational. But if you only look 1 year forward, you will see that valuation comes down to 34.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Right? So it's
Hmm.
not that irrational. It may be still a little bit on the higher side, but okay, not that unmanageable, right?
Hmm.
So yeah. So then, you can try to figure out what should be your ideal PE, and you can give a PE multiple to that, and then, come at a conclusion that, okay, this should be the kind of, margin that this should be the kind of market cap that the company can trade at. Okay.
Hmm.
Uh, I have done some different numbers. So I'll share those numbers with you, Rishabh. You can
Okay.
take them, and you are completely free to trash my numbers.
Hmm.
The most happy I will be if after your independent assessment, you figure out that my assessments are wrong, and
Hmm.
you can sort of give logical reasons for it. I will change my projection. Yeah.
Hmm.
Because my numbers look quite rosy. That's why I'm holding the stock. If the numbers are not going to be that rosy, I will actually sell. It's a 2% position for. Yeah.
Hmm.
So just rework this, apply a PE multiple, or try to do PE, EV EBITDA, and PS multiple, and try to see how your the market caps using these three approaches, how do they sort of come together? That
Okay,
will
sir.
be a good learning for you. and then sort of present a headline picture to Gaurav and I that, okay, in 1 year or in 3 years, the market cap range could be this, and therefore return range could be this.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay, Gaurav, I am done.
Yeah. Overall, I mean, looking at the company, I mean, not that, I mean, this company doesn't fit into Bharini's framework, no?
No, no, 100%. It is not.
Yeah.
See, I have a couple of things
Hmm,
like Rishabh said that the company is never able to string together 3 or 4 years of 10-12% growth, right?
hmm, hmm.
So considering last year was around 4% growth, yeah,
Ah,
uh, and the year before that was how much? Year before that was 18%. So I just want to see that, what kind of growth the company can do. So if I just take simple numbers, Gaurav, that over
hmm,
a 10-year horizon, they have grown at 10% CAGR, sales growth.
hmm,
Over a 5-year horizon, they've grown at 12%. Okay.
hmm,
So if I take 11% as an average growth rate, okay,
hmm.
then in 3 years, if they grow at 11%, then their revenue, if it is 1 today, their revenue should be 1.37 after 3 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, in the last 3 years, if we see in FY22, they've grown by 1.1 by 18%, right? So divide this by 1.18. Last year, they've grown by 1.046, 4.6%. So if you see, then the company should grow by 11 to 12%, 11% to 12% in the coming year.
Hmm, hmm,
I mean, just looking at average, smoothing out the ups and downs that have happened in the last 2 years, if I assume 11% CAGR. So if the company grows at that 11% CAGR, and if I assume that the company comes back to median profitability in terms of EBITDA margin, and that it will pay down debt because it has raised cash from an asset sale, then how does the picture look, and is there possibility to make money? So
hmm,
for me, the exit price is a pure tactical bet. Okay, there is nothing. Initially, I got excited because they put up so much capex that there was a lot of operating leverage. But then I very quickly realized that while there is huge operating leverage, their revenue growth will be slow. So
hmm.
this initially I thought ये 3500 पहुंच जाएंगे 2 साल में, but this quarter they clarified 3 से 4 साल लगेंगे.
Right.
Right? So
Ah,
there's no point waiting for 4 years there for that to play out. So
yeah.
I mean, so my price target here is around, I think, I'll just tell you, it's around 585. So anything around there, I will exit. It's still quite a lot from here,
Hmm,
but if the next quarter results are again good, margin comes back to 13%, then I think the market will start to factor in recovery and median valuations. And then that's my sort of thesis that if it comes above 550, I will look to sell.
yeah. And there's no risk to this company. This is one thing that's clear.
Yeah,
I mean,
correct.
yeah, it's a, I mean, pretty decent. There's decent margin of safety.
Right. I mean, margin of safety at this point, Gaurav, I don't think so. I mean, they can't again revert back to 8-9% EBITDA.
Hmm.
Then the stock will tank. But if
Right.
they keep moving to 12-13% EBITDA, then yeah, then I mean, it's at fair valuation, maybe, or a little bit below fair valuation.
Right. Did you catch the up move?
Yeah, I am up 15% right now.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, so that's why I bought it because when I bought it, it was really cheap actually. So
Yeah,
the
yeah.
day before I bought it, the stock moved another 12%. So people who bought it even before, they must be up around 30%. So these are the kind of tactical trades that people can do when stock is completely getting hammered out of sight, right? Any kind
Hmm,
of recovery will give you a nice 30-40% bump, and you take it, leave it, because there's not going to be amazing returns in 3-year horizon or 2-year horizon. So
correct. Right.
might as
Yeah.
well be tactical. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Rishabh. Good job. Gaurav, please continue. Do you mind if I drop off now?
No, no. Actually, let's stop the discussion. Shantanu, your presentation. Let's have it tomorrow, maybe. No.
Yeah, I think
You
he
remember?
said tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's have it
before,
tomorrow. So,
yeah, sorry.
yeah.
You mean the valuation, right, Gaurav?
Yeah,
Valuation. Yes. Yes.
values.
Yeah. So I think that we'll have tomorrow, and Ashutosh will let us know whether he'll be able to present tomorrow or not. And Friday, Gaurav, you're traveling, right?
Yeah. But I'm available in the. I mean, in the evening. So I'll reach probably the place, the resort by 10ish.
In the
10, 11.
morning.
Yeah, I'll also have to take an office call. I don't know,
Oh, I
somewhere
see.
from the jungle or in a restaurant.
I see. I see. Okay. So you can let us know on Friday morning whether you'll be
Yeah, yeah.
able to take a call. I think if it's not possible, let's not do it, Gaurav.
No, no, I'll be
So,
able to take a call. No, no
okay.
doubt.
Okay. Then I think Sonakshi will be ready to present
Yeah,
on Friday. And then on for Saturday, I think Shantanu slash Pratham will revert if a presentation is possible. I think that is how the plan is looking like, right?
yeah. And we'll also on either Thursday or Friday, whenever we have a full house, I'll give all the companies which
Yeah.
need to be studied in.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. So then, because I am back on 16th, so I think I will be able to join the next stand up from Monday 17th.
Perfect. All
So,
right.
right. Okay, Gaurav.
All
Uh,
right then.
I'll drop off then. Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, 1 second. I just had one question regarding the thing you said. If you are already assuming for the gross margins, then we shouldn't assume the EBITDA margins as well. And you said that we should instead model the costs, right? So
Right.
could you please repeat whatever you said
No,
there?
so
Which, like, yeah, sorry.
yeah, so basically, Shantanu, what I essentially said was that if you are trying to, the goal is to arrive at EBITDA margin and EBITDA, right? Once you're
Yeah.
able to project EBITDA, you're able to then take a lot of calls. So if you are going to come down to EBITDA by projecting the gross margin,
Hmm.
and then from gross margin, you need to project the other cost items. So below gross margin, what is there? You have employee cost,
Yeah.
you have manufacturing cost, and you have other expenses.
Yes.
So if you model all of those, then automatically from your gross margin number, if you subtract those, you will arrive at an organic EBITDA number and an EBITDA margin, right?
Yeah.
So then where is the question of assuming an EBITDA margin? If you've already assumed a gross margin, basis your modeling of the other three cost elements, you will automatically get an EBITDA margin, no?
Understood. Yes.
So that's what I mean.
Yeah.
That if you model both, it means you're sort of circular reasoning हो रहा है. मतलब तुम ऊपर कुछ assumption ले रहे हो, नीचे कुछ assumption ले रहे हो EBITDA में, और बीच में costs उसके साथ match कर रहे हैं कि नहीं कर रहे हैं, वो तुम नहीं देख रहे.
हाँ.
Right?
Yes.
So, I mean, either you forget about gross margin and all that. If it's a very stable company, you just say कि EBITDA margin इसका इतना होगा, and you should be able to convince people कि हाँ, that's a reasonable assumption. Either take that approach, or you take an assumption for gross margin basis your understanding of where raw material prices are right now, what is median, how the industry outlook is. You take gross margin assumption, then try to model the employee cost percentage, the manufacturing cost percentage, other expenses percentage, and then you automatically arrive at EBITDA.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was the point.
Understood. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Welcome. Bye, guys. See you tomorrow.
Bye. See you.
Bye.
Bye bye.